Hello and welcome to the Kundalini podcast. That was Zen. This is Tao. I'm Vivek Govekar. Namaste. This is episode 103. Today I'm going to talk about Sanskrit Bija mantras, intonations, how to do them right, what gets the best effect, and how you can reap the best benefits by saying the mantras along with just listening to them. Listening to them is the easiest way. If it's a choice between not listening to mantras and, I can't say one, so I'm just letting empty air program me, or, whatever I'm hearing in the background when I'm walking down the street, let that program me, would be a bad idea. It's better to have some mantras that you're listening to. Just because you can't say them the right way doesn't mean that you shouldn't get the benefit of it, at least partially, by listening to them. So I'm a big believer in keeping mantras on in the background, even though you're not saying them. That's better than other kinds of music that may be harmful or detrimental to your own psyche. You may be willingly participating in that destruction of your psyche through ill-advised ideas. Or, we're human beings. We like to party, we like to enjoy, we like to have fun. There's different kind of music for different occasions. What's your life? What do you listen to every day? What's the soundtrack to your life? The question I'd like to answer is, what does sonic resonance do for me? Sonic architecture that I create around me do for my physical, like physiology inside physical body and the soul or the self that is driving all of that in the world. What are its needs? Let's boil it down to that first. What are the needs of a human being? Food, water, shelter, clothing. Then what? Enjoyment, satisfaction, goals, aspirations, daily duties, how they're done. The better you do them, the better you get the reward. What's the reward? Are you a hedonist who just goes into complete enjoyment of bliss at all times? Or are you somebody who likes to think, likes to read, likes to get his pleasure out of playing video games or riding cars, flying planes? I don't know. There are different ways of living your life after the basic needs are taken care of. Now, what do we do with all of this? First of all, I only started thinking about it 2 steps apart. I was too busy living that life. I only started doing that after I awakened. So now I have an added perspective to be able to impart to the world. It's like, why am I doing any of these things? What does a person need? And then you start thinking about what drives you and what gets in the way. I was thinking of these plans, these ambitions, and what got in the way. Typically, about 99% of the times, the answer is myself, my own actions. And that's a shock when people first hear it. Meaning, how many missteps can you avoid during the day will be determined by the company you keep, what you listen to, who's guiding you, misguiding you, are you being misled, how smart are you, how aware are you, how awake are you, will all be decided by how mindful you are, how much clearly present you are in this day at all times. Once you've been able to accomplish that, you start seeing things like this. Oh, what are my actual needs? And am I being driven to them by my best interests, fulfilling my needs? Because if you're driven by the right passions, you can not do wrong. Every day is joy, every day is bliss. You're doing what you love. You may not have everything, but you're close to that perfection through your own efforts. Once you understand that, you realize, oh, there's a lot of excess junk coming into my psyche, through my ears, through my eyes, through the Instagram panels that I watch, or YouTube videos, or who I listen to, what my friend circle is, what their goals and motivations are, what their complaints are, grievances are, what aspirations drive them, and how can I make myself better than my previous self based on all of that information that I have gleaned about my daily input that I get from the outside world. To harmonize that for your best interests, you're using mantras. Let's put it that way. It's a conduit, it's a shield for your senses, your sensual organs that receive stimuli and then gain information, and then that drives the self. You are now implanting powerful directives for that system, which it knows what to do with, as a nourishment. Think of mantras as vitamins for your chakric system, for your aura. They allow it to do their job better. Supplements, vitamins, nutrients. Essential and rare, and sometimes the right thing, distilled down for that psychology to protect itself well. Protection happens as a second nature. Because if you have been listening to those sounds, the chakric system has already resonated to that. That's already happened. You, as a thinking person, made the smart decision of playing that mantra. Now, you have been cleansed, or sometimes even without you wanting it, that system has been placed to protect you against your own mistakes, guided by your ego. May be easy for other people to then misguide, manipulate, but the kernel is within you. Your basic makeup has to be harmonized within for satisfying cravings, coming to terms with yourself, letting go of the past, truly, with love, with forgiveness, and then looking after your own protection of, oh, I was making these mistakes in my life. Okay, I've eliminated all the people, events, music, etc. Oh, now it's just me making these mistakes. And so intoning mantras and learning them for yourself is like an easy way. If you have like 2 or 3 mantras for different purposes. One is a Kavach mantra. One is for twilight, which is Gayatri mantra. These are the ones I recite. Devi Kavach. I recite the Lord's Prayer, which is also an esoteric reference to all the chakric, the entire chakric system. If you see Our Father who art in heaven, etc., it's all 7 chakras. Give us our daily bread. Everything works in the same way, but that is said in English and has a different harmony and resonance. It is based on your intention, focus, pray. That's Bhakti Yoga. Mantras work by resonance, vibration of just the intonation. Understand, I had put a link to one of my previous videos. This was in the previous channel. That was then This Is Thou. And it was about a picture of various chakras, their various petals, and which sound creates the best resonance for those petals. So the whole system is humming along perfectly, spinning well. If you can go back and find that video, you should. I'm going to expand on that a little bit. Each sound, because the language Sanskrit itself is already created based on this body architecture of resonance and proper vibration, exactly those sounds are the language itself. 2 syllables put together to say a word has a much deeper meaning. It is the resonance created in the chakric system. And then the meaning itself appears in the psyche, and so in your life. What to stay away from, how to behave, what to have within you in your arsenal as a tool to, toolbox. Arsenal is the wrong word. Toolbox. The right tool for the right occasion. If you have a toolbox that you use the right way, every single time you have a situation which requires you to be in harmony with your thoughts and the outside world, and bring about the best outcomes, avoid self-created mistakes or proclivities that lead you to those mistakes. You need a different vision given by your friends and loved ones who are looking out for your best interests, and be humble enough to take their advice and say, you know what, you're right. This is killing me. You are trying to make it better, and I'm lashing out because of petty things. That's not good. Oh, now I have learned something. Now my ego is in check. Now I am acting in the right way. And that has led to a big change in my life. What I thought was a perspective that was, say, macho, or I was like, I think I'm right. Oh no, I was making mistake after mistake and kind of rationalizing it and saying, no, I haven't made mistakes. And would stop other people from even letting me realize those mistakes. You know, those kind of self-sabotaging things that you do because of the ego, you stop doing. You don't take the bait. You don't go along with any harmful intent brought about, and you don't hold it against the people involved personally. Basically, it's a light touch. Don't take anything personally. Anything. But take yourself and your inward journey very personally. That's all it is, right? I mean, in a way, it sounds like this roundabout logic. Your profound journey, the biggest, most important journey, is within. And these are the manifestations or practical applications. You are using the mantras, your behavior changes, you become less self-sabotaging to yourself. Oh, so the biggest enemy was me. Protection was needed against my own thoughts. Oh, but I shouldn't even dwell on that too much and forgive myself because, I'm human. And what can I do next with this newfound freedom from my fears and repeated follies related to patterns that were of my own making because I was too proud or whatever. Be humble enough to recognize your weaknesses, to surrender to the higher power and say, let me be guided by you, God, thy will be done. To guide you through that, the proper intonation of mantras and having 2 or 3 mantras in your toolbox to use at the right occasions save you from yourself. Then other eventualities, possibilities, cascades that would have gone with that course of action are avoided. Right there, you have benefited from something. And your own wisdom is being used for yourself to prevent the worst of your thoughts, ideas to manifest themselves, to not be misguided, and to put a stop in a gentle way at self-sabotaging, self-negating behavior as well. So mantras help you in many different ways. Once you activate that cascade, and it has been done for, like, in my case, years and years and years now that I've been using these mantras, it connects back to that first time you heard the mantra and with the focused intent and started this series. And you're back to anchoring, back to your grounded self. Oh, then the assessment can begin. Then you can see yourself from 2 steps behind your own actions. Bring them to a steady, controlled way of behavior. Your inside, your outside, how you behave with people, entire reality matches itself. It is grounded in the present moment, but in your true self. You identify problems as problems, problem behaviors as problem behaviors, seen in yourself or in other people. You act on that, you learn from the lesson, and slowly, gradually move away from the entire mindset. What brought me into this situation? Let me do an investigation of this possibility of a temptation and I could fall. And what brought me back? That was my own actions that I had taken at some other point, reciting mantras and preparing myself. In the moment, oh, this worked. Wonderful. Go back, refine that. And, that becomes another journey. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has slip-ups and lapses in their old behavior. Moving to the next step involves not allowing that one missed note to sour an otherwise great situation and keep going higher and higher to the next task, to the next achievement, milestone. Now, with fewer mistakes, through your own actions, through your own best efforts to make yourself better prepared to handle life and how you would have reacted in the past that was wrong for you. And now you're reacting in a different way, which is absolutely right for you, taking you to higher achievements, which is through your own efforts. I hope you found this helpful. Please like, subscribe, and please leave your comments. Your feedback is very useful. Thanks for watching. This is Vivek Kovekar signing out. Peace, love, blessings. Be well.